let's talk about how to use the AI Scribe that is a product from TEC. And first step is going to be we've got to set up an account. So if you've already got an account, you can skip this part, but there's a couple ways to proceed with setting up an account. The first way is to do it through the web browser. This might be the easier way to do it. You're going to go to this website. You're then going to log in as a new user or hit no account. So you're going to plug in your name, plug in your email address, create a username. You may want to keep the username fairly concise because it is going to be something you have to enter regularly. And the password, also something you're going to have to enter regularly. There's several policies here that you can click on to review and then select that you agree with them. And then also you need to accept the terms of use. You got to scroll all the way through this and hit close at the bottom. That'll then allow you to create the account. The other option is you can do a account setup using the mobile app. Go into the appropriate app store to get it, then once you open it, select new account. That'll then bring up this window here. Similar to on the web browser, fill out all the details, agree to the policies, you can click on them to review them, and then the terms of use, accept it, you're good to go. Alright, now that we have an account, we can get started using the Scribe to create our note. So part of this first step is going to be creating a patient encounter. You have to have a new patient encounter in the Scribe to lay down the recordings and to pair them to. So there's two ways to do this. You can do it on the app or on a Windows desktop. So step one on the app would be to open the device. It's then going to bring you to this page. You're going to go down to the bottom right and hit the plus. You then enter a patient ID, which you can put anything. You can put a room number, chief complaint, some combination of the two, whatever you want. Next, you're going to enter the age and the gender. These are important because it's going to help create the narrative that it phrases the note in, including all the pronouns throughout it. If you're going to use it on the web browser, you would open up the browser, you would log in, and then you'd click on Add Encounter. You put the same fields in, again, the room number, chief complaint, whatever you choose here. This doesn't get actually put in the notes just to help you identify them and keep them separate. Then you hit Add at the bottom, and you're ready to go. At this point, you can add additional encounters if you're going to see multiple patients. They'll just show up as a list here with the different encounters. Alright, now that we've got the encounters loaded in the app and ready to go, we're going to head in and start recording with the patient. This is going to be done using the mobile device. You're going to go to the app, you're going to select the patient encounter, which is done by selecting on the actual text that's written there. Then that's going to bring you to this window. You're going to select the microphone on the bottom right and then hit start recording. At this point, I put the phone in my pocket and I head into the room and I let it record. While it's recording, your screen can time out. If you've got a battery saving timeout or something like that, it'll keep recording. You'll be just fine. Once you're done recording, all you have to do is hit stop recording and then hit upload. Alright, now that you've got some recorded interaction with the patient, you want to generate the note. To do this, you're going to want both your Cerner window and your web browser with the TEC website up. So you're going to go into the website for the Scribe, you're going to go to the patient encounter, you're going to see it listed here and select the patient encounter. So at this point, it's going to bring up the note that's been created. If you don't see anything written here, it may be that it's not completed yet. It may still say processing. You may need to give it some more time. You can hit refresh for the window of the web page, or you can also hit rebuild chart. But now is what I do is I review through this. You can do a few different things. You can edit it right here, or you can copy it into your note and do the editing there. I prefer to just go ahead and copy the whole thing from this point. So I come over to where it says copy entire chart and I select it from there. This then saves it to a clipboard that you can use to just paste using Control V or right clicking and paste. I then come back over to Cerner and go to the workflow under provider view into my dynamic documentation. This can be different for different people. I like to just paste it right here into medical decision making. Some people like to just go straight into HPI and paste it there. But as what I do is I go through then, and this is where I do the editing. I take out the parts that I don't want to include. Perhaps it talks about some decision-making tools or something got added in. Because I was doing this one as a practice patient talking to myself, it kind of included some weird stuff that you shouldn't get in the real life use of it, but you can go and delete anything you want here because now we're using this as our actual content in our Cerner note. So this is where you want to make it correct for however you want your note to be. So remove any extra stuff. If it's giving you decision-making guidelines or differential diagnoses you don't like, you can go ahead and remove all these things. You could also come in and add a different history input. You could add a different differential diagnosis, whatever it is that you want to modify at this point. So as I mentioned, I copy the HPI portion of the AI note, and I then move over and paste it in the HPI section of the dynamic documentation. If you wanted to just do all of this in the HPI section, it would fall at the top of your note, and that would be a totally reasonable option. I then come in and dictate my physical exam specifically using Dragon because I prefer to do that over using the AI Scribe. Partly because you have to really verbalize all that you're doing your physical exam if you're doing it as the AI note. And I find that to be cumbersome, kind of awkward with the patient, and I prefer to use some templates that I have created in Dragon. I just personally find that it gives me more control of documenting the physical exam that I really want. If you do use the AI Scribe to do your physical exam, that's fine. You just have to make sure you verbalize all your findings. I mentioned earlier that the patient details are really important. If you have the wrong age or the wrong gender, that information is going to actually get written in your note. And especially if you do the wrong gender, it's going to be wrong in several places throughout. So it's important to get it right. If you got it wrong, it's okay. You can still use it. The way to do it is go on your mobile device into the patient encounter. Come down here to the bottom right, click on the microphone like you're going to record another interaction. And all you got to do is simply say, please update the chart. The patient's actually a 31-year-old female, not a 29-year-old male. This will then help the app to correct all the different places in the note where this is relevant. After you're done adding the correction, just press stop recording and upload it, and it'll update the chart. You just have to give it some time to rebuild it. Another great feature of the app is the ability to add photos and to take photos. So for example, one of the things I use this for is that med list that the patient comes in. You can actually take a picture of this and the scribe will work to transcribe it and list it in the narrative of your note. So it doesn't put a picture in the chart, it instead transcribes the data it's seeing. To do this on the app, you go to Patient Encounter, press the plus button, and then you're going to choose File. It's going to give you a couple different options. You want to select Use Camera or Camera. It'll then bring up your camera and you can take a picture. It's not saving the photo on your phone, it's just using the camera feature. You can then take the picture you want and you press Use Photo. This will then upload to the chart. It will process the data and then add it to your note. You'll see a new line on the patient encounter for this. Be creative with this. There's all kinds of things that you can take pictures of. I've taken pictures of reports people bring in from an outpatient MRI or an echocardiogram. You can do all kinds of things and it'll try to interpret the data that it sees and add it. It's pretty good at adding it to the appropriate place, usually in the medical decision making. So it's a great way to document that you've reviewed some of the outside information. The app is pretty good at recording a procedure note that you may be doing. So if you're doing a laceration repair or a incision and drainage, if you talk to the patient in your interaction that you're going to be doing that, it'll automatically bring into the note what it thinks is a procedure note for the thing that you're doing. You'll need to plug in some of the details such as the suture you use or the number of sutures or the technique you use or whatever it may be, but it does give a great little template that then you can use for the note. You can also just import a normal procedure note however you've been doing it, but this helps give you a jump start. You can go back into the app and add additional recordings at any point. It can be for various things. Maybe you go in to get more history. You talk to a family member that showed up and has more information. Or one thing that you can do is you could dictate some updates, kind of like you would in an MDM update. I personally don't do this, because I find that if I try to go back in and talk about what the labs have returned and they're showing this and that, and the patient is feeling better after getting some medicine of this or that, sometimes the AI doesn't know quite where to put that information, and sometimes it can add it historically to the HPI and it says, oh, they're feeling better after getting morphine, which is not necessarily what I want the note to reflect. So I don't personally do that very often, but I will go back in and add a track if there's some relevant historical update, like the family member shows up and tells me the real history for this patient that was altered and not able to tell me anything. Regardless, if you ever want to add an update, all you got to do is come into the app on your mobile device, go down to the microphone in the bottom right-hand corner, press it. It'll allow you to start recording a new track. You record whatever you want, whether that's the interaction with the patient, whether that's you sharing your feelings, talking about the medical course, how things are going, whatever you may want to be doing. Then you press stop recording, press upload, it'll add it. It'll take some time, but it'll then integrate that back into the note it's trying to create. Keep in mind though, you only want to do these updates before you move the generated note over into Cerner, because this is adapting, building, modifying the note the AI is generating. So you want to do this before you copy and paste things into Cerner. Once you've moved the note that was generated by the scribe over into Cerner, you can be done with it. And to do that, you want to archive the note. So you can do this on the app or on the browser, but all you have to do is go into the list of patient encounters, go over to the archives button there, press that, it'll go into the archive folder. If you need to get into the note that you archived either prematurely or accidentally, you can always go to the archived section. In this section, you'll have access to all the notes that you've done recently. So if you need to get back into them, you can go in, you can copy from these, you can still get all the data that's there. This one doesn't have much in it, but you could click on this and it would have all the recordings from what you did. After a few days, the archive folder gets automatically cleared out and erased, so these transcriptions are not staying in there permanently. Congratulations, at this point you're done. You've successfully created the note using the AI Scribe. You've transferred it over into Cerner and you're good to go. So hopefully this has been helpful. Play with it, expand your experience with it, try different things. It keeps getting better. There's lots of updates that are always happening. If you ever have issues, there's a way to send feedback right from the desktop or the app. If you have your account not transcribing or it's getting bogged down, it's still work in development, so there's constantly being updates and tweaks, but it keeps getting better all the time. So give it a try and enjoy. Thank you.